Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. One of my viewers sent me a video of Cola W. Beale IV, a suspect in an alleged triple homicide that took place in Virginia Beach and Norfolk, Virginia. And according to police reports, your Cola W. Beale IV allegedly wound up murdering his girlfriend, his stepfather, and his cousin because he allegedly snapped. Now, the police are seeing the triple homicide your Cola W. Beale IV participated in as an isolated and disturbing incident, but when I take a critical examination of your Cola W. Beale IV's pattern of behavior and its background, it fits right in line with the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And your Cola W. Beale IV is looking like he was a ticking time bomb for an extended period of time, because this convicted sex offender who was convicted for sexually assaulting a minor back in 2018 was definitely a very dangerous individual to have out on the streets. However, he was out on the streets and he managed to get involved with a young woman. And as he got involved with this young woman, he wound up building a world around that girlfriend, who he says was the only person who kept him sane. Now, when it comes down to your beta males, many of these men go out here and live in a rose-colored reality, and that world looks like our world. However, that world is a very completely distorted place. And in that distorted place, these men go out here and build a world around a single individual, and they make that individual the core focus of their world. Now, your Cola W. Beale IV's girlfriend, Stepfather Hill, her mother was concerned about this man's behavior, and I believe she possibly was concerned about this man's behavior because he was, one, a registered sex offender, and two, he was going out here building a world around her daughter, and she probably was trying to warn her daughter about the dangers of being involved with this man, and his behavior was becoming more and more erratic practically every day. Now, the mother went to visit the house, and your Cola was watching, allegedly, the mother coming to the house. And this is another textbook pattern of beta male behavior. A lot of beta males, they want to try to control the world that they build around people, so they go out here and stalk the people around them in an effort to control them. So we're seeing a pattern as related to this beta male's behavior that are showing that he is a ticking time bomb. And this time bomb wound up exploding in a rage, where he wound up taking the life of his girlfriend, Stepfather Hill, when they had an argument that wound up challenging his whole reality. Now, your Cola W. Beale IV and his girlfriend had this argument, and I guess while they were having this argument, she was challenging his reality, and when that reality wound up getting challenged, that rose-colored reality got shattered, that's when your Cola W. Beale IV possibly wound up, as he says, allegedly snapping. Because when it comes down to these beta males, they cannot stand having to deal with actual reality, and whenever you go out here and challenge that reality, that's when these men who are already simmering and boiling in anger wind up exploding in their rage, and when they explode in their rage, that's when they participate in a spectrum of violent behaviors. And this male, he was so in his feelings about having his reality shattered, that's when he was going to go out here and attack the woman's dog, but the woman, because she was desperate to save the life of her dog, what she did was say, whatever you're going to do to the dog, you do to me. And allegedly your Cola W. Beale IV wound up shooting the girlfriend in the head, and he then sits there and then tries to justify that he was doing this because when she said I was going to do that to the dog, that let me know there she was ready to go. These are his Beale's own words as related to things. And he, after murdering this woman allegedly, he then says it was all the mother's fault because the mother was questioning how he would provide for her daughter. Now, these are logical things that a mother would ask. Unfortunately, your beta males run on emotion, and your Cola W. Beale IV was all emotional because he had this delusion in his mind that he was going to start a business, and he was sitting there living with this idea in his mind talking about starting a business. But when you deal with beta males, they oftentimes have big plans and they talk about what they're going to do, but you never see them making any sort of tangible progress towards what they're doing. And that's what the mother was concerned about, and those concerns were challenging this man's whole rose-colored world that he built. And as she was challenging it with reality, this is why he went out here and again attacked and took the life of his girlfriend and wanted to blame it on the mother. No, the real reason why this man took the life of his girlfriend had nothing to do with the mother. It had to do with the mother implanting some logic and reason as related to things regarding being provided for and shattering the rose-colored reality that this registered sex offender had created for himself. Because a lot of beta males, they create these ideas about what they're going to do, similar to the Bout 2 chick, and these guys go out here and talk about what they're going to do, but they never get to going around to doing it because many of these men don't have any sort of critical thinking skills, ability to use logic and reason, or ability to go out here and process and take the steps to move forward. So these individuals, they do not know how to do anything except talk. And the mother was concerned because she saw her daughter involved with a registered sex offender who was a pedophile, and saw that her daughter was involved with an individual who was basically a danger to her daughter and possibly a danger to himself. And that was shown after he murdered his girlfriend. He then set the house on her house on fire, and then he watched as the dog that he was allegedly wanted to spare the life of wound up burning up in the fire. Now, this individual, again, he's a textbook beta male because when beta males can't get their way, again, they participate in a spectrum of violent behaviors, and these behaviors are extremely disturbing because when these men can't get their way, they go out here and try to destroy anyone who destroys their reality because they feel since their reality is being destroyed, they have the justification to go out here and destroy the lives of anyone who does not fit into their idea of reality. Now, the day after your Beale IV wound up murdering his girlfriend, he then shot his stepfather in the head, alleging that he lied to him because he would not give him the money to start his so-called business. Now, according to your Beale in his jailhouse confession, he says he went to his 73-year-old stepfather and then shot him in the head because he had lied to him about not being able to give him the money to start a business. And he said that he had over $20,000. And because this beta male did not see this man's going out here and agreeing with him and giving him what he wanted, he felt justified in killing him because he felt that he lied to him. But this stepfather did not lie to this beta male. No, this beta male told lies to himself that he could get what he wanted, but the whole thing is his whole idea of a business did not meet any sort of logic whatsoever. I mean, he's sitting there talking about a business and then talking about this man lied to him because he didn't give him any money, but he didn't understand that his stepfather didn't have any reason to give him any money because it's not his job to give him his money. And if he had $1 or even $5, it wasn't for him to go out here and take this man's life because he refused to give a grown man, a registered sex offender and a pedophile, money for a so-called business that he has not even made any single step to go out here and doing. Now, his cousin, his 32-year-old cousin, was with him when he went to his stepfather's house, and this cousin was practically freaked out as related to this alleged murder. Now, your Beale the next day wound up murdering his cousin because he said he was running his mouth and beating on his girlfriend. But I believe the reason why your beta male Beale wound up killing his cousin was because he didn't want any witnesses. Now, some people will sit there and say that this man is mentally ill, but no, these beta males are not mentally ill. No, when it comes down to a lot of these beta males, like your Cola Beale, many of these men, they grow up being raised in these single mother households, and inside of these single mother households, these males never learn good male life skills. They never learn male survival skills, and they do not learn how to navigate the world as a man. And because they learn dysfunctional female life skills, many of these males do not know how to function in the world. And these men, again, they do not know how to navigate the world, and because they don't know how to navigate the world, these guys wind up getting themselves into situations where they wind up doing damage to the lives of others, like this registered sex offender did back in 2018. And then when they get back out of prison, they then come back to the world and they call themselves trying to start everything over. Unfortunately, since these men do not have any sort of male life skills or survival skills given to them at an early age, many of these men do not know how to function, and even worse, they do not even know how to make anything work at all as related to the real world. And that is what makes many of these males extremely dangerous to be around, because while they sit there and can talk a good game, many of these guys do not know how to make anything work. And what happens is they wind up fostering codependent relationships with people like your Cola Beale IV did with his girlfriend. And in that codependent situation, these males want this woman to coddle them like mommy did, and they want them to nurture them in their rose-colored world and make everything okay, just like mommy did. Because basically, that's what your Cola W. Beale was saying, that he wanted this woman to go out here and be the one to keep him sane and keep him on the level, because he wasn't looking for a girlfriend. No, he was looking for a mommy, and he was looking for a mommy to foster a codependent relationship with him. And in that codependent relationship, she would be the one to go out here and validate all of his delusions, validate all of his unrealistic ideas of the world, and tell him what he wants to hear, because that's what he's used to mommy telling him. And that was the big problem with your Cola W. Beale IV, is he never had a real father there to go out here and be the head of household and go out here and establish some structure, because coming from that single mother household, his mother went out here and remarried some guy and made him a stepfather. But a stepfather is not a substitute for a real father. You need that real father in the home to give that boy structure and to give that boy order and to establish reality with that boy. Because a stepfather, he's not going to be seen as a male authority figure by a son, because the mother has not taught him to respect the leadership of the first man who was in his life, which is his father. So he does not respect the stepfather, and that's why he wound up allegedly taking the life of the stepfather, because he believes that the stepfather lied to him. But the whole thing, the truth is that this man never learned how to navigate the real world, and as a result, he wound up taking the real lives of three innocent people who were trying to help him try to deal with life. Unfortunately, because this male didn't get the proper foundation in manhood, this male became a man in crisis, and this man in crisis is now gone from being a registered sex offender and a pedophile to becoming a alleged triple murderer. And this triple murderer, again, took the lives of three innocent people, and now he's sitting there trying to go out here and justify things as related to his rose-colored reality, because in the beta male's mind, nothing is ever his fault. No, like the female who raised him, everything is somebody else's fault, and they made him do it, but he never goes out here and takes responsibility for anything, because that's the model that was presented to him by the female in his life, that single mom, and now he wants us to believe it was somebody else. But that's not going to fly in this case, because your Cola W. Beale IV has been running his mouth like a female in a confession he made on the news, and he's also gone out here and talked about how he's having a public defender, and he doesn't even know that he's actually setting himself up to wind up doing triple life in prison, where he will be practically, as I see it, traded for your Little Debbie snack cakes, your ramen noodles, your cups of coffee, and cans of Dr. Pepper. That is going to be what's going to happen to this male for the rest of his life. And if our criminal justice system worked in any way, this man would be put away for the rest of his life, where he can go try to play his little rose-colored reality games with Bubba and Tiny, and they will let him see how hard the real world is inside of the penitentiary. And once he sees how hard life is in the penitentiary and gets a shattering dose of reality, that's going to be the final fate of your Cola W. Beale IV. But what's really just troubling is that we've got millions of Cola W. Beale IVs out here, and these males are men in crisis, and these men are not just ticking time bombs anymore. No, these males have been turned into landmines because of the pandemic lockdowns, and many of these men's clocks have been accelerated to the last couple of seconds. And what's really scary about our society is that we don't know when these men are going to go off, or at what time they will, just as your Cola W. Beale IV, snap, because these landmines are practically everywhere around this country. And what's scary about living in modern America with all of these clocks accelerated with these landmines is that you feel like you're walking on eggshells, because you don't know when you're going to step on one of these landmines, or how severely harmed you're going to be when one of these men explode. We have a serious man crisis in this country, and America refuses to acknowledge it, because to acknowledge the man crisis in this country means we have to take a look at all of these women over the last 60 years who have been raising these boys under our gynocentric and feminist culture, and we have to hold those females accountable. Moreover, we have to hold the politicians who created the welfare state that creates men like Cola W. Beale IV accountable, because they created all of these monsters with their great society. And with that great society, we're seeing that we're getting a society filled with these landmines, and these landmines are not turning into productive men. They're turning into men in crisis who are turning the nation into a chaotic place, because these males do not know how to function as men. They do not know how to navigate life as men. and they do not understand how the world works as a man because they learned their life and survival skills from a female, and they're expecting to be coddled and nurtured the way females are. And because there's nobody there to give them a dose of reality, whenever these men experience reality, they wind up losing it because they can't cope with reality, and then they wind up exploding in rage and wind up taking the lives of those who care about them because they don't really know how to navigate a world where they have to take responsibility for themselves. And the great fear many of these beta males have is being responsible for themselves. They, again, like your Cola W. Beale, he's sitting there talking about his dreams and ideas, but never really putting anything to the table. And he's sitting there when you challenge his reality with logic and facts. He can't deal with logic and facts, and this is what makes him lose it and makes him want to go out here and take the life of innocent people. But again, the scariest part about this man crisis isn't the guys like Cola W. Beale IV who are locked up. It is the millions of males out there who are men in crisis. And again, these males are landmines all about this country. And what's even scarier is that this man crisis is going to get worse because we are now seeing an increase in frequency as related to these violent behaviors. And while most of your politicians will sit there and talk about gun control, the big problem with many of these males has nothing to do with guns. It has to do with the way these males are raised and the fact that these males are never raised with self-control, and they never get to learn about self-control because there's no father in the home to model manhood for them and teach them the discipline and resolve that they're going to need in order to navigate life in this world. Since these boys never learn how to function as a man from men, they learn how to function as a male from a female, and they're basically like females with male physical strength, and that is what makes these males extremely dangerous because while they have the emotions of a woman, they have the physical strength of a man, and they have the emotions of a woman, and they act impulsively, never thinking about the consequences of their actions or taking accountability for their actions. And again, it's a scary situation to be in here in modern America because we have millions of males like this all over the world, and they're creating a man crisis in this country no one acknowledges, but we see the fruits of their violence practically every day. And that violence is getting worse, again, instead of better. And what's really scary is while your Cola W. Beale IV is in jail, there are millions more like him, and there are millions more looking to make more violent situations like this all across the country. If you want to learn why men like your Cola W. Beale IV wind up participating in violent behaviors like these, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos like this one, which was requested by one of my viewers, you can send a donation to the Cash App by clicking the link in the description box. And if I know something about that subject, I will make that video for you. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle, Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Learn how to avoid predatory females like Instagram models and e-girls in their virtual con games with Stop Simping in Cyberspace. Get your copy of Stop Simping in Cyberspace in paperback and Kindle today.